Take a look now at these clouds as they are forming in the distance. This is looking toward the west-northwest of Channel 6 studios.
News director Ken Hughes and assignment editor Jerry Smith were returning from Vernon, where another tornado had struck that city, when they heard the report of the storm.
April 10th, 1979 is my Pearl Harbor. I was in 5th grade at Bonham Elementary, and we were at Easter break that year.
You know, it was kind of a normal day for me and my two brothers, except that on April 10th, 1979, my mom and dad boarded an airplane for Hawaii.
I was an ag teacher at Ryder. We'd been there, had moved there from Rosenberg. My mother was so glad because we weren't going to be in the eye of a hurricane. Moved to Wichita Falls where it was safe in 78.
It was a cloudy, cool day. Now, I chase tornadoes now, and it's not the typical day that you'd expect a tornado to be in the kind of a heavy sky, but it was real soupy feeling. I mean, just you didn't think much about a tornado. And about time I got there, went through the living room, I stopped and looked at the TV. Rich Siegel, who was a weatherman at KUZ TV then, he was talking about it. He says, there's a tornado on the ground in Ponderosa Estates. If you live in Wichita Falls, you need to take cover immediately. The sirens went off. About time he said that, everything went silent.
And I told Tricia, we need to probably go to my parents' house. I wanted to drive out there because they had a cellar. And growing up all my life, we'd gone to the cellar when there was a storm.
It was kind of hard to differentiate the tornado from the storm itself.
The smell and the sound, it sounded like a freight train. And everyone that's ever been in a tornado will tell you the same thing. And the ground shakes, and it's just massive destruction. The tornado was 2.5 miles wide, had winds of 170 miles an hour. That's a lot of destruction coming at you.
Somebody came on the radio and said, take cover now. There's a tornado setting down on Memorial Stadium. Well, that's about 5 or 6 blocks from us. So Tricia begged me to go back in the house. And I said, no, we're committed now. We're going to have to go. And as we're driving down Southwest Parkway, people were still stopping at red lights. And we weren't one of them. When we got to the Arch City Highway, we could see the tornado as we looked back, and you could see it taking up. It was probably in Faith Village by that time.
In any moment, I was expecting everything to go to hell. And louder and louder and louder. And then kind of the sound kind of went to a different direction. And my dad opened the closet, walked out to the front porch, and he hollered at my mom. He said, Christine, come here. And I remember a car come driving down the road, and all the windows were blown out of it. I mean, everything's blown out of it. It looked just like a tornado had hit a car. I'd never seen one like that before. No windows in it. The guy had the windshield wipers going. He was laughing and stuff. I knew it was bad. And this is how bad it was. There was a guy laying in the ditch, and his wife was screaming, my husband's dead. And a guy comes up and grabbed his watch and took off running.
We realized, I guess, on that day that we were standing there, what's really important. And what's really important is what's standing there, not your stuff. Stuff can all be replaced.
Know your safe place. Have a kit ready to go. A lot of people don't think about this type of stuff, but know where your medicines are. Lots of different things that you can do just to make sure you're already prepared if a storm does come through.
Whether it's a fire, tornado, or flood, or whatever, think through what you're going to do. And make sure everybody understands what that plan is. Because these things tend to happen when you least expect them.
Tornadoes, you have anywhere from 2 minutes to 15 minutes. So have you a plan. If you know the storms are getting bad, have a plan to get going.
Don't wait till a Tuesday. I mean, do you have a place to go? How are you getting warned? Where are you going? What do you need in your kit? After 64, the storm shelters started going in. There are thousands of registered storm shelters. There are probably close to 3,000 that are registered inside the city limits.
If you've got an old-fashioned house and it's got a cement slab, the bathtub's the best thing you can be in. You can't believe how many houses I've been through. Still today, you chase and all you see is a bathtub. Bathtub is the best place to be. Take a mattress off the bed, lay in that thing, and put a mattress on top of you. That's the best thing you can do if you don't have a cellar.
Because if you wait till the siren goes off, it's probably going to be too late. Even if you wait till it says tornado warning by Michael Bowling or whoever you're watching, it may be too late for you.
I'm not super concerned about how well buildings or homes would stand up to the potential destruction.
Really, even in the last 20 years, building code has got more stringent and more specific on what they want to do to protect the public from natural disasters. But after Terrible Tuesday, now in these high wind load areas like Wichita Falls, you have to buy a special metal clip that straps that roof rafter to the top of the wall. People wanted to be able to protect their homes and protect their families from tornadoes, but the cost to put in a deep in-ground storm shelter was so extreme that most people, it was unaffordable. And most of the advances we've seen in building construction to protect against natural disasters like this would be in commercial construction. Any school that we go in and build, you have to have a concrete storm shelter to protect every single student, every single teacher that's going to be in that building. And that's just a bare minimum.
I think people try to profit off of storms really bad. And I'm going to make some people mad on this. People sell these above ground tornado shelters. That's a waste of money in my book. Because if you're sitting in that thing and they say, well, it can withstand 300 or 400 mile an hour winds, it probably can, but it can't handle a Chevy pickup at 170 miles an hour getting slammed into that thing.
It's just concrete's the most effective thing against the wind, and mainly the projectiles that can get thrown in the wind.
When you look at what we have just in warning alone, back then it was one thing. Basically, it was the sirens, and then if you had an AM radio. Today, I get warnings on my cell phone when I travel because I have an app that tells me if I'm in a warning. We didn't have that back then.
I think that as a society, we are better prepared for storms. As a society, we don't pay attention enough to what's going on. People are caught up in their phones. Pay attention, learn your radar. That's another thing. People don't know how to read a radar.
There was an upgrade just done in 2013. Radars have improved a ton to dual pole, which helped us identify tornadoes more easily when they were on the ground.
My job is to follow what the criteria that was written by meteorologists, skywarn storm spotters, various groups. The criteria states a verified tornado or a tornado or funnel above the city could pin and drop down in the city. Also 58 mile an hour winds sustained for 3 minutes. We would sound the sirens. Sirens are a tool to alert people that are outside to go inside. And that's what the 79 tornado proved. We have changed from the 79 where sirens were the main way for people to be notified. But now we've got computers, we have cell phones, weather radios. There are lots of ways to be alerted.
I think today's storm coverage is so much better than it used to be. Wichita Falls is a very unique area because Wichita Falls got hit by a bad tornado in '64. So they were real vigilant, and we had a really good chase network even back then.
Storm spotters played such a crucial role on that event, simply because, as I said, all other forms of communication were rendered toothless.
Most of the storm chaser guys are the same way. Now, a lot of them have a servant's heart. They do want to help people. 99% of the chasers all have the same common good. They want to make sure everybody's safe, but they like storms. Storms are exciting.
You say that day kind of like, I guess, gave you your passion for storm chasing?
I was scared to death of storms for about 3 or 4 years after that. I mean, if a siren went off, I was wanting to go underground. And about 16 or 17, I really started getting fascinated with weather. And then the Twister movie come out. I love to chase storms, and I chase a lot of tornadoes, and I try to get to as close as I can. I guess I'm trying to relive 1979 again and get close to a big one like that.
As measurements get better now, we will be able to identify that storms are getting worse, but in theory, yes, we have seen at least the number of tornadoes increase. We've seen the number of large hail events increase. Got better spotters, better communication, better reports, and how much of it is climate change. That's something that we just cannot answer. The public has no idea how to communicate climate change. No, that's just the truth of it there. People that go way too far one direction, and there are the people that completely ignore it altogether, and those are both wrong ideas. We are adding heat to the atmosphere. Heat is energy. The more heat that the atmosphere is retaining, the more dynamic our storm systems can be. Our main severe weather parameter for instability is called CAPE. If you have more heat that's getting down to the surface, it's going to lead to higher levels of instability. So that's going to then increase the intensity of thunderstorms. When you add more heat to the atmosphere, warmer air can hold more water vapor. It can hold more moisture, and it just constantly is enhancing itself in a way, allowing it to be, stronger, more intense, and that's what we're seeing.
One thing I do fear is that there are people in elected office and people in positions of power and influence who they tend to deny the science that global climate change is a very real thing that is affecting us right now.
There have been cuts across a lot of National Weather Services offices.
NOAA has cut down some jobs. And right now, as of the other night, and this is secondhand information, but it comes from a really good source and a good friend of mine, they only had 2 people doing warnings the other night.
But what's going to happen is that people at the National Weather Service and FEMA are going to have to work overtime. They're going to get worn down, and it might hurt the quality over time because people are overworked.
And I think that's hurting on the letting people know what's going on side.
But then as far as the response afterwards, well, it all comes back to money. And if the funding is cut, then helping people rebuild is going to be impossible.
I think any budget cuts can hurt. I think where it hurts more is at the local level. All counties in the state of Texas, everywhere, U.S., have a threshold you have to meet to start looking at federal help. Doesn't mean you're not going to get help before then, but the threshold is per capita. Comes out to almost $600,000. To get to that figure, it's uninsured damage. The state has a threshold that they have to meet to bring in all of FEMA help. And currently it's right at $59 million. Money gets tighter at the federal level. They may or may not find that money.
Reductions in National Weather Service employees and FEMA employees is the wrong thing to do. The National Weather Service is already understaffed to begin with. They need more people, not less. We just want people to be safe, and reducing funding to that is a catastrophe.